All right, welcome to the Q&A tonight. Hopefully this will go okay. We are inside a building, inside the bus, but we're using the WeBoost amplifier. So if you guys let me know if it's coming through okay and the signal okay, I'd appreciate that. And then Kelly's here with me. She's going to help me. Is it coming through okay? Working good? Thank you. Good. Yeah, hey, Tyler's there. Normally the internet is terrible inside the bus, period. But yeah, our bus is parked inside of a great big steel building. And then, so not only are we inside a building, we're inside the bus, inside the building, and the internet is coming through great thanks to the WeBoost amplifier. So I'm very, very happy with that. That's the one that I installed last week, and it's working great. That's very, very good. Yeah, I'll try to take some questions here. I'll start trying to read a few as we go here. And then Kelly will help me out and keep track of them too. We're gonna keep this an hour tonight, so it doesn't go like a 3-hour marathon like it did the other night. Tomorrow, Phil will be back here. We're gonna start work. We got a couple of volunteers coming out to help us as well. I met a few people out here too. So yeah, we're at Stan's place, and we're working on 4103 mostly tomorrow. Getting ready to get all the parts ordered for that. Continue with the teardown on it. On both 4103s actually, and the second one that we tore apart yesterday. So maybe the internet's not perfect for everybody. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we got the piston and liner out of the one, and then the other one, we're just gonna do full rebuild on that one. And we still got to get 2 liners out of there that aren't wanting to come out. There's a lot of junk around the intake ports on the liners, so I'm thinking maybe that's where it's kind of stuck at. So tomorrow morning we should have those out though, and figure out what parts we got to get ordered. Okay, questions. I'm gonna scroll back to the beginning here and see if I saw anything. Most people were just saying hi and stuff.
Got some here if you want me to start.
Okay, go ahead, Kelly.
Hi there. Have you seen a 8V92 twin turbo in a bus?
No. Usually just one turbo on them. But I'm sure somebody's done that. So.
Ever see buses with the old Ford 534 gas engines? What's your opinion of them?
No, I don't work on anything gas. So I mean, if I've seen them, I didn't pay any attention. So. I mean, there's a couple out here that have gas engines in them, but I don't work on any of that stuff, so I know nothing about it. If it doesn't have a Detroit in it.
How long are you there?
2 weeks. And then I'll be working on Taylor's Silverside a little bit too. That pre-war Silverside that you saw at the end of the video yesterday. That little shorty. I know it's only 2 feet shorter, but man, it looks so short.
Are you coming to New York?
I don't know when. It won't be till, I don't know.
At least next spring.
Yeah, next spring, next summer maybe, something like that.
How do you go about getting those stuck liners out?
Usually that liner puller works really, really well. I've never had anything that wasn't able to get it. You know, even that broken liner yesterday, it got that bottom half of it out, and that thing was mangled. I was surprised that it came out as hard as it was. But I think we're going to borrow an actual Detroit liner puller instead of mine's a homemade tool. That, again, it's always worked for me, but C&J Bus Repair right down the road here. I think we're gonna borrow a liner puller from one of their guys over there.
What is the forecast like?
Cold. It was 40s today. We went for a walk, a couple miles. Kelly and I today. We went to
Duluth Trading Company.
Duluth Trading Company. It's about a mile down the road. Just checking things out over there. I was gonna get some coveralls and stuff, but they didn't really have coveralls there.
Are the liners new or a rebuild?
I'm not really sure what they're asking there, but we'll put new liners in there. He's got a bunch of new old stock parts. We'll go through what we've got here first, but I'm sure we're gonna have to order some parts.
You are constantly referring to some buses as Silversides. Is that primarily GM buses?
The Silversides are specifically just the 3751 or that style. So the same style as what my bus is. Everything else is not really Silversides. A few other buses might have that kind of nickname from people, but it's not. I mean, the only bus that really has that nickname is the 3751, which is the bigger one, or the pre-war ones, which is what Taylor has, a pre-war, and which is the same design as the 3751. It's a different number though, 3151 or 41, whatever. I don't remember what all the numbers are, but it's just that style, the same as my bus. They look exactly the same. They're just a little bit longer and a couple. 3701. Thank you, Tyler.
Really enjoy your renovations?
No, 3151. Neil says. I believe that too.
Okay. When and how did you get started renovating antique buses?
There's a whole video on that. I don't want to waste a question on that. So if you just click on my channel, you'll find that how to become the bus grease monkey, and that pretty much tells that whole story.
Do you work on Silver Eagles at all?
Sometimes. There's quite a few of them on our channel. A couple rescues with some and other stuff too. Okay, pretty much everything on
Will you come to Iowa?
them. We go to Iowa all the time.
We have at least one person on our list for next year.
Yeah, we were just in Iowa though, like 2 months ago.
Yeah. Is the MCI 6 across the street part of the collection?
Yes. Yeah, I'll get video of that too. There's actually another really, really cool bus over there that we'll show you. Something that they, I don't want to know how much money they spent on it, but they did a complete, beautiful restoration on a bus inside that building over there. It's nice.
What year was the KW bus?
I don't know. I'll mention it in tomorrow's video. I'll ask Phil, he'll know.
What changes are made on a Detroit to lay it flat, like in a Crown bus?
Just the oil pan. That's really about it.
Where did that beautiful Greyhound come from?
The 4104, I'm assuming, is what you're talking about. I don't know its history. I'm sure there's a plaque in there or something. I'll go in there tomorrow, maybe shoot it.
I found 584104, no batteries. Are they negative or positive ground? How do I tell with no batteries in it?
That's a very good question, because originally that bus would have come as a positive ground vehicle. Typically look and see if it still has the original generator on it, the carbon pile generator. If that's on there, 9 chances out of 10 it's still going to be positive ground. If it's been converted to an alternator, then it's probably 9 chances out of 10 that it's the other way. But we do some continuity tests on the ground on there. If you go to what would normally be the positive cable on a traditional negative ground vehicle, and check for that. But yeah, look for gauges on the dash too. And it's always nice when the previous batteries are there. But that doesn't mean that the previous owner didn't hook up the previous batteries the wrong way. And the starter will always turn the correct way, no matter if you reverse the voltage to it or not. That doesn't matter. So you're not going to like get the engine to run backwards, but you might fry some of the other stuff. But 9 chances out of 10, the generator is the way to go. Look at that. If it's an alternator, then it's probably negative ground.
Will tonight's chat be another marathon session like last time?
No, it will not. It'll be 1 hour.
Liners on some things like old Caterpillar crawlers are becoming obsolete, so liners are having to be refurbished. Are you running into a hard time finding parts?
No, everything's repopped for the 671s and or 71 series, 92 series. You can get all that stuff new from not just the manufacturer. There's other company, Federal Mogul, and there's a bunch of other companies that do them. So there's no engine parts, like internal engine components, that are hard to get at all.
Can you show that flex more in upcoming videos? Look nice.
If I get a chance, yeah, I'll do some of those. She's going to try her best to get through all the questions too, whatever she sees on there. And we do have the super chat enabled too, so if somebody does that, we'll try to pay attention to those too.
Scott, need your help. How can I get in touch with you?
Scott at busgreasemonkey.com, and make sure you put a really good subject line in there that says that you're need help working on your bus or something like that, because I get a lot of emails. It's hard to pay attention.
How do you charge a positive earth battery?
I don't know what they're asking. If the ground on it is positive, you just hook up. It's still positive. It's positive. Negative is negative. It doesn't matter what it hooks to.
Is the custom coach MCI5 you got going a while back for your friend for sale?
No, no, it's going into service in Nashville. It's back in. It just I think it's passed its DOT inspection and it's ready to go.
How often are you on the West Coast?
Well, this year twice, I think. If you
Yeah,
can.
we're getting ready to head out that way.
Yeah, we'll be out there soon. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or yeah, around there.
What is the point of double clutching, and can you tell the difference between double clutching and normal shifting?
I mean, it's a non-synchronized transmission that we have, so you have to get the speeds of the gears to mesh. So the engine RPM needs to mesh with whatever gear you're going into. So you're double clutching it by bringing the RPM back down or back up. If you're downshifting, you're stepping on the throttle, getting everything spinning a lot faster. So that because the gears when you're wanting the downshift into a lower gear, that would be at the high end of the RPM scale if you were upshifting. So you need to get those gears back to the same configuration. So that's all you're doing with double clutching.
Is there a specific bus or model you would sell Lenny to buy?
No, nothing. Well,
No.
okay.
My answer is no. You can give your answer.
But I like a future. If a future liner ever came into my realm of possibility of owning that,
We would not sell this bus.
well, we wouldn't sell it. We would just have another bus. You are correct.
I'm amazed how well you clean up after some of these bus tussles. What do you use for this?
Well, I use those Gojo wipes that are amazing. I don't know why Gojo doesn't sponsor us. They really should. And that saves me from using all the water in the bus to get clean too. So I can just use those things to get all the real nasty dirt off me, and then just a quick shower, and I'm good to go.
Or Dawn dish soap if you need it.
Or yeah, the Dawn
The
dish soap, the foaming.
It's a foaming Dawn.
Oh, I forgot what it's called. Time out. This stuff. It works really well. Platinum, whatever it is. That stuff.
Would you recommend upgrading to spring brakes on a 4104 or leave original?
I would definitely recommend upgrading to spring brake. 4104 is the easiest one. You just bolt them on. There's nothing else that you do. You run a couple of extra airlines and a switch, but that's it.
Are you okay with visitors while you're here in Minnesota?
Yeah, I keep posting my cell phone number for people. Just send me a text first, and we'll work it out. I guess I'll post it in the description later, so you don't just don't show up unannounced.
How do we find out where you're going to be if we want to volunteer?
Just pay attention to the channel. I always announce where I'm going, where I'm at.
Scott, you're looking good, buddy. What does your diet consist of now?
Oh, just trying to eat lower carbs. We've been vegan for over 2.5 years. But carbs were my downfall. So trying to watch carbs, that's always been the hardest part. But nobody wants to hear about that stuff.
What do you do for a hobby?
Work on buses. Fix my own damn bus. That's my hobby.
Wish I had a 71 series, but my pet came with a Cummins small cam. Who is the Cummins superstar such as yourself?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea who's really good at those. I don't pay attention to anything except Detroit. That's the only world I know.
Will we ever see you drive a car?
I don't know. I know how to drive a car. I have a license.
Is there a reason you shoot your video with your cell phone rather than head-mounted GoPro?
Yeah, because everything is extremely easy and I don't have time to do anything else. If I shoot it with my cell phone, I can edit with my cell phone, upload it from my cell phone. I'm spending 15 minutes maybe with each video, and that makes everything super easy for me. If I start using a GoPro and a computer and everything, it's like hours and hours of editing and uploading and transferring and all that. I don't have time for that. And it's just fine for me the way it is. And that's good enough.
And you did buy a GoPro a long time ago and
I
you
hated
did not
it.
like it.
I hated it. I hate the GoPro.
Which it could be different now. Where would you recommend looking for buses in the Boston area?
Craigslist. There's no specific place I know of. I just follow, keep an eye on Craigslist or some of those Facebook groups, bus conversions for sale. If you're looking for a converted bus, Craig's Bus Sales is another one that's on Facebook, and they list all of the Craigslist bus listings from all over the country. It's a good place to look.
What % of old buses were Detroit powered?
A lot. I don't know, but a lot. They were the king for a long, long time. I would guess 90% of buses, of highway coaches, not including school buses.
Are you guys going to be in Northern California?
Not this trip, no.
I think the San Francisco Bay Area.
I don't even know if we're going to make it up that far.
I was going to say that would be the farthest north if we have time to make it to that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make it there.
How do you deal with decades-old fuel and fuel tank when bringing a bus back to running condition?
Nothing. I just make sure there's no water in the bottom of the tank, and that's it. It runs. That old diesel is not like old gas, so we've run stuff on 30-year-old diesel and it's just fine. The first time we get a chance to fill it up, top off the tank, we'll do that and add new to it. Sometimes I'll add an additive or something, but it's probably better anyways.
You gonna put a turbo on Lenny?
Yes. Don't know when. Sometime. I always said about a year.
In her free time?
Yep.
What model cell phone do you use to shoot the videos?
This is an iPhone 11 Max Pro Max,
Whatever the newest,
whatever it is.
one
Yeah.
is.
I like it. It's a lot. I had the 10 that I was shooting before and had a lot of issues with that. The audio quality wasn't as good, and the 11 has the 3 lenses on it, the wide angle and the telephoto. They come in real handy for some of that stuff, so I do like that a lot.
Are you seeing any problems with buses you fix and exhaust emissions in the states you visit?
No, they're all exempt. The old stuff like that, nobody pays attention to any of that.
Which photographer did you work for? I used to be in the business.
Which photographer?
Yep.
We worked for ourselves.
Why don't you float the clutch when shifting?
It just take too long to wait for it. I don't want to wait an extra 2 seconds or second for each shift. I'd rather just get through it, and double clutching allows me to do it faster.
You did not show the middle engine on the KW bus. Could you back on, please?
Um, I mean, it's
to
just a pancake motor. I suppose I could try to get a video of that, but it's just an engine flipped on its side in the middle of the bus.
Can the blower pressure be turned up?
Not really. You can get a bigger gear for some of them, but it's not something. Basically, no. Just if you want that, then you want to add a turbo. That's the easiest way to go about it.
Do they make a synchro mesh trans upgrade?
Not for a GM bus. Some of the buses have them, but a GM bus does not. Some buses have clutch brakes and all kinds of stuff. The GM V-Drive that I have, there's no option for anything like that in a GM.
How do you heat water on your bus?
We have an electric hot water heater. 6 gallons. It's great. We never run out of hot water, and it keeps you from taking a really long shower anyways. But at one point I went to a 2 gallon. I thought I'll save a little bit of room, put a 2 gallon in there. 2 gallon was terrible because the whole time you're constantly adjusting the temperature while you're in the shower. So if you turn it off for 30 seconds and go to turn it back on, and the temperature is in a different position. So a 2 gallon is not good. A 6 gallon is perfect. You can take showers one after another and not run out of hot water, not screw around with the temperature. And the electric is just convenient for us because if I'm plugged in somewhere, it'll run off of even a 20 amp service. I can do that, and then otherwise I'll fire up the generator, and it stays hot for 1 or 2 days. It'll stay hot in there.
And it only takes about 5 minutes for it to get hot.
Yeah, it's quick.
Where in California are you coming to?
I don't remember. San Diego
I believe the
area.
one was San Diego area, and then the other one was the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're gonna make it up to San Francisco. Yeah, we do have moderators in here tonight, so don't be fooling around, or you're gonna get spanked.
How do the Detroits handle the ultra low sulfur diesel?
They're fine with it. I mean, they don't love it. You know, I add additives to my diesel fuel, but I don't know that it's necessarily a problem. Um, you're just not getting that upper end lubrication that you would have. So
GM Futureliners are gas powered, aren't they? Would you convert it to a Detroit diesel?
um, I would probably not screw with the original configuration if I was fortunate enough to ever own one of those. I think that would be wrong. So I would stick with what it had, which is a very, very small. I don't even think they have 200 horse. They weren't. They were like 150 horsepower gas motors or something like that. But I wouldn't care because that'd just be awesome. But no, I wouldn't screw with it. But that's not going to happen. They're too expensive and only a few of them.
When you did photography professionally, what did you use? 33 millimeter, medium format, large format?
We did everything.
Have you ever worked on a 90s Thomas safety liner with a Cummins?
No, I don't work on anything except Detroit diesels, and I only work on vintage buses too. So, no.
What does Lenny redline at?
No load. He's like 2650 ish.
So if a vintage bus has something besides Detroit, you won't touch it?
I won't work on the engine on it. I'll work on the bus. So maybe it depends on what I'm doing. I guess it just depends.
How do old injectors perform after being unstuck? Would you recommend replacing them?
It just depends on how they're running. You know, if the cylinder's not hitting as hard as the other ones, or we can test the spray pattern on them. I whack them with a little rubber mallet and can see that all the nozzles are spraying, and then I'm completely fine with it at that point. I've not had to replace them, but it wouldn't hurt to sometimes, I suppose.
Will an old low block head off a 671 fit onto a high block engine of a 671?
There's no difference in the head, so yes, it would fit.
Would you ever want a scenic cruiser?
I mean, I like them. If I had one, I would probably give it to my son. But yeah, I like them. I just love this bus. So
Is that Spicer 2-speed rear diff an Eaton Spicer electric shift, or is it an air actuated shift?
I've never. If you're talking about the one that's available in a GM, I've never seen it. So I've heard about it, that it allegedly was done, but I've never seen it, so I have no idea.
Can I swap a 471 into my GM PGA 3301 gas pusher?
I have no idea. I'm sure anything is possible.
How's life being vegan?
Great. A lot more energy. Food tastes great. You don't really know what you're missing. I guess it's a lot easier than people think. Cheese for me is probably the hardest part to go vegan, was cheese. But
what is the newest to your bus you would work on?
well, I don't know. I mean, I've worked on stuff in the 70s. Once it gets into computerized stuff, I'm not there. I have no interest in that, and I'm extremely busy with just working on the old stuff. So 40s, 50s, 60s, into the 70s. That's about it.
What is the average cost to have a 4-cylinder RV diesel looked at and inspected for service?
I don't know. You never know what you're going to get into on anything, so I can't give an estimated cost on anything like that.
Will an old low block head, and that would it just, yep, we already asked that.
Okay.
Can you explain what buses are V-Drive?
Just, well, like I was gonna say GMs, but that's not true because like Scenic Cruisers are GMs and they're not. And a 37, is it 3701? I don't know. I forgot my numbers now, but there's several model numbers of GMs that aren't. But in general, most GM buses are V-Drive. So all the old looks, new looks, 4106, 4104, Silver Sides, 4103, all that stuff's V-Drive. So most of their buses are V-Drive, but it's only GM. Well, I say only GM, but then when GM got out of the bus business, that same design went into several of the other transit bus companies. I think some of the Gilligs and some of the whatever, I forgot their name. Transit stuff.
Have you seen many Brill buses in your travels? I'm working on one and always interested in seeing others.
Yeah, not too often that I come across them, but they're out there and they're cool.
Can you explain how the latch works on a Silverside's luggage bay door?
Um, yeah, it's just a worm gear in the middle, and then that turns on the outside, and it brings in two little clamps that go in or out that latch two little hooks on the thing. A lot of times they rust and seize up, and it's hard to, if you haven't got onto them for a long time. You keep them lubed up.
Someone says you're not coming through, but then there's a lot of questions and stuff after, so I'm not sure if there's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, there may be. Like I said, we're inside of a bus, inside of a building, so.
Okay, let me see what the next. Have you ever seen a Southern brand bus with underfloor Fagel engine? I don't know if that's how you say it. Faegol.
No, that person has emailed me before or something, I'm assuming. Yeah, I don't know what that bus is, or there was one for sale somewhere somebody was looking at, and I never heard of it. Gene Russell never heard of it. I think Luke never heard of it. So, but there was a lot of small bus companies that were trying to do things like that. So,
what is the average amperage output of alternators you put on these old buses?
most of them have like a 250, 280 amp alternator, somewhere around there. Too. Some of them might be 320 even. But they're up there because they got to run those big air conditioner blowers. That's why they have such big ones.
Would you mind showing more of the flexible VL100 in the lot if you have time?
Yeah, if I get a chance, I will. I just saw somebody ask me, "I was enjoying the weather up here, and it's cold outside, but I'm lucky. We're lucky that they let us put the bus in the building. That's makes it a lot more comfortable, but it's cold out."
You have said Lenny does not have a defrost because the factory duct was removed. Can a replacement be sourced or fabricated?
Yeah, we can. I mean, I was trying not to ever drive in cold weather. That was my plan for now. We have a way to defrost it because we can just run flexible piping from our propane furnace up to which is right behind the passenger seat, like that flexible like dryer vent ducting thing. I can just run that and lay that on the dashboard, and that works just fine. But eventually, I think we'll add it back to the system.
Was Lenny an RV when you got him?
Yes, he was a terrible RV when we got him. The complete layout was ridiculous. I keep saying I need to do a video of his whole progress because it was like Kelly wouldn't come in the bus when we got it. She took one step in and said, "That's disgusting. I'm not going in there." It was a total open floor plan, king size bed in the back. Right next to the bed, there was a toilet. Across from the toilet was the refrigerator. You could literally, no walls now, so you could sit on the toilet and open the fridge.
And talk to the person on the couch next to you.
And talk to the person on the couch that was right next to the toilet. There was just, and a family of 3 had been living in the bus. So that's, yeah, that's not my style of comfort or personal space.
And the bus was full of nasty garbage.
It was full of garbage.
Would you work on a 1983 Prevost with a 8V71 and manual transmission, no computer?
Yes. And I worked on a couple of Prevosts that were 80s. I forgot about those.
Where can I find info on your rear view camera setup?
Somewhere I have a video where I did the install of it and links to where I bought it from. We used to have a wireless one, and I replaced it twice, and then I went with a hardwired one, and I've been real happy with that. But we're getting ready to install that new system, that 3D 360-degree view camera from REI, and that will pretty much to replace everything that I have. I can't wait to have that installed.
What would someone expect to pay for a scenic cruiser that's in decent shape?
Decent shape, drivable, with good rubber on it. Like you don't have to replace the tires too. I would say 15 to 20,000 is probably kind of the going price. $5,000 is like a running, but not necessarily been on the road in the last few years price. 5 to 10. Some guys that have them think that theirs are worth 40, but very few of them that I've seen are actually worth that price. But some of them could be. But if they've been sitting in a barn and all that, they're more likely than not worth more than like 15 grand for sure.
Do you need to make new parts for the engine, or are most parts available if they need replacing?
Everything for the engine is available. I mean, if you bolt on things like Sage had to have that fan pulley made, that kind of stuff, because that's more an accessory that was a GM specific only thing, not a Detroit part.
Are there any resources on the web to learn about? I guess maybe they cut off there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
What is the price range of Silversides from Parts Bus to a Lenny quality bus?
Usually $15,000 to $20,000. There's not a whole lot of Silversides other than, with exception to, it used to be Mark Renner's bus, John's bus. Now that one's obviously worth a lot because they spent a lot of money on that. But most of them, very rarely are they going to be more than 20. I would say 30 would kind of be the cap on most of what I see for Silversides.
What is your labor rate per day?
If you're working with me, it's only $75 an hour. If I'm working by myself, it's $90 an hour, plus travel fee. And then I have some minimums. So if I drive, 3 days to get to you, I'm not going to do 2 hours worth of work and be done.
Could you show the engine on the Kenworth bus while you're there?
We'll see.
Seen an ad for 4106 with the claim that it cruises at 75 to 80 miles per hour. Is that possible?
Yes. It actually probably goes faster than that, depending on what wheels they have on it, but yeah.
Have you ever seen a vintage bus with slide outs that were converted to an RV?
Well, like Bill's bus, that Eagle, that he put slide outs on that thing. That's considered vintage. It's 80s or something like that. But I've not seen like a GM specifically do that.
Are there any resources on the web to learn about Detroit diesels?
A YouTube would probably be a great place to learn, I think. But
when you're parked up, is your rig stable in high winds, i.e. does it rock like a boat or is it solid?
it'll rock like a boat, but I have some really cheap like screw jacks that I throw under the corners on it, and it really makes it stable. So otherwise, without them, like if you roll over in bed, the whole bus shakes from the leaf springs. But if you throw those jacks up under the corners and put a little bit of pressure on them, they're cheap too. They were like $39 for a set of 4 from Amazon or something like that. I have a link on my website, thebusgreasemonkey.com. I know that those are listed on there, the link to Amazon on those. They're weighted at like 6,800 pounds per jack, which I'm not actually lifting the bus. I'm just putting some pressure on them. But it really makes it stable, and then you don't have to worry about it shaking and blowing around in the wind.
Have you ever rebuilt an automatic transmission?
I've never had to rebuild one. No, I just typically replace them or find a reman one to put in there. Some of those parts especially like the V730s and stuff like that, those parts are getting a little bit hard to find to rebuild them, but they're out there. But it's just easier and quicker to do a reman.
Someone says, so working on an 85 Eagle isn't going to happen?
Not if it's got an electronic engine in it. No, it's not.
Are you going to air-to-air intercool the new turbo or water-to-air?
We're just putting a turbo on it. It's not going to have an aftercooler or anything like that.
Are you still putting Jakes on Lenny?
Yes.
Does Rain-X help with window frosting?
I don't really think so. It does. It definitely doesn't help with snow sticking to your windshield. I know that. If you get by with no wiper blades with Rain-X, the first time you get caught in a snowstorm, within like 60 seconds, especially if you don't have defrosters, your windshield, you totally lose all of your sight.
If I broke a latch on the side of the luggage door, how difficult is it to fix that?
It's cast aluminum, so you TIG weld it back on. But like two of my doors, two of the latches don't work, but one side works. The other, there are double latches on each door, so like one latch on two different doors doesn't work, but the door closes and secures fine.
Are you coming anywhere near Pensacola, Florida?
We were down there last year. We did a bus. We did an MC5 transmission or clutch in that down there in Pensacola last year. We'll be in Florida again after the first of the year, but I don't know that we'll be in the Panhandle though.
You already mentioned answered this earlier, but this is someone else, I believe, asking, how long do you plan on being in Minnesota, and is it okay to have visitors when you're up here?
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks. I'll post my phone number I'll pin it, and you can text me. Don't just show up. So text me first, and we'll let you know where we're at, where to come, when it's okay to come, that kind of thing.
Tell us about the normal cars you own.
I have a 73 Volkswagen Thing that is my daily driver / date car. When I'm home, if I'm not driving the bus, that's the Thing. And then and Kelly has a BMW that we've had forever that we love, a 5 Series. Those are my only cars, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
for now.
That's it.
I don't want to put any holes in my silver sides. Any good air conditioning systems out there nowadays?
I don't know what you mean by holes. You don't want to put a rooftop air on there. I mean, there's a lot of really good mini splits Patrick has a great mini split in his. You're still putting some holes, just maybe not necessarily on the outside. Bay storage is so limited on the silver sides. Our bays are so short. And by the time you get all the RV stuff in there, I need tool bay storage. That's why I have rooftop airs. Plus those holes were already cut in my roof, so I didn't add new holes to do it. But regardless, I still would have added rooftop airs just because I can't sacrifice storage space to put a mini split system down there. I don't have the room for it.
Do you know if a 1986 MCI MC9 is computerized?
Not necessarily. No, it's not. Usually. It could have been upgraded, but usually they're not.
Someday / video down the road, could you do a walk around video of what to look for on a bus that's been sitting for a long period of time?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already have that out there on the old ones, and we go through and get them going. We kind of go through all the different systems, the wheels, the hubs, we're looking for rust. We're checking the suspension, steering, engine, transmission, fluids. I mean, most of that stuff is already in a lot of my other videos.
MC9 bus, would you recommend?
Yeah, I like them. I think they're cool. I mean, I probably like the 7. Well, 6 is my favorite period for the MCIs. And then I'd probably go to a 7 or a 5, and then an 8. No, maybe 8 before the 7. I don't know. 6 is my number one favorite. Any of the MCIs are nice though. But I don't personally like the looks of the later, like the 102C and those kind. I'm just not a fan of the boxiness of them. I think that stylistically, the older ones, they put a lot more thought, and all the stainless steel and all that. MCI had some really cool designs, and they got into the boxy bus stuff later on, which I'm not a fan of, only because I like the styling of the vintage stuff.
How's Lenny running now with the new exhaust?
I noticed zero difference whatsoever between the exhaust that Chris just modified versus what he did last time, other than the fact that it's much quieter, which Phil doesn't think so. Phil heard it the other day, and he's like, I thought you put an exhaust on this. But it's way quieter than it had been.
What's up with the DOT inspection?
For what?
I'm assuming Lance's bus, because you mentioned he just got
Oh,
a DOT.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's putting that back into commercial service, so that had to be done on all of his buses.
Do you wish you had air ride?
Not necessarily. It would still be just as bouncy, and then you're worried about airbag leaks, and it's not going down the road. It's not all that much different. It's not. It's fine.
What size turbocharger are you going with?
Not a huge one. I'm not going crazy. I just mostly I'm looking for a smoke turbo, so something where I can just add a little bit more horsepower, get more air into the cylinders, especially for altitude performance. Other than that, I'm very happy with the performance of the bus. It's just at altitude that we're having the issues with it.
This is a statement I agree with. Scott, you're way undercharging for your services.
Kelly tells me that all the time. Um,
Shops charge twice what you're charging.
I know they
and
do.
more.
I know. But I want to be busy, and I like helping people, so I don't need to be greedy to do that. So we'll have a price increase next year, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. That's not my style.
Did any 4104s come without the emergency door from the factory?
No, it was a law back then. They all have that. I've seen it removed. It's been removed on a few of them, so you might see a 4104 or two without it, but it came with it, and somebody's taken it off. Frank's bus has been removed.
Have you ever driven a double-decker bus?
No, never drove one, but I rode in them when we were in London, and those were fun.
I see multiple LCD screens on your dash. Any way to combine multiple systems, rear camera, Garmin, etc., into one single LCD, or is that the new REI system you mentioned?
No, well, the REI is going to combine a couple of things, but no, there's a bunch of stuff on my dash. That's not all. There's only two. Is there two screens? There's three. I guess there's three because I have a dash cam that's very, very small off to the left. Above that is the Garmin, which I just got a new Garmin GPS. It got shipped to my house after I was mentioning that I wanted the Garmin. An employee of Garmin who watches our channel hooked me up and let me. I actually paid for it, but he let me use his Garmin employee discount code, so it saved me 45% off of the MSRP on the Garmin that we were looking at. So thank you for that. That was awesome. So it's at home now, so I won't have it till we get home, but it's there.
Ever think of running a utility truck with a camper behind so you can have more tooling?
No. Silversides is not made to tow anything and my rear cradle is already got some issues going on back there where the back of the bus is saggy. It's had some structural reinforcement done to it and stuff, so I'm not wanting to pull something heavy back there and risk damaging the bus to do that. And if I did that, I mean, it would have been, you have no idea how much weight I already have in tools, and then how many more tools I would want to carry, and if I could take them, that I would. It would just be so much more fuel economy wasted, and stuff just adds up. And then the more weight you have, the harder it is to stop. It's not safe. At some point, I just have to be comfortable with saying I'm not going to be able to carry every tool I could possibly want, and just get by with what I have. Sometimes I get frustrated when people are like, you need to have this tool, you need to have that tool. Well, yeah, I know I want that, but I just don't have the room, or I took out some stuff this trip that I was pretty sure I wasn't going to need, just because I'm tired of how heavy the bus is. So I took out like my engine hoist, transmission jack, my extra clutch that I was carrying with me for my bus, just different things like that. I've taken out because I was tired of having them in there. I used to carry that 20-ton press with me, and a lot of that stuff, if I need it for a job, the client can just go buy it at Harbor Freight or something and then have it in their shop because it's probably something they'll use in the future. I just can't do that. And I did just see a super chat come in from Nomadic Tech. Thanks for keeping the old buses alive. Well, you're quite welcome. I love it. It's fun.
Is registration difficult?
No. Registration converted to an RV is not difficult in most places. You have to have like 3 out of 7 things or something like that. You have to have like hot and cold water, a place to prepare food, food storage, a bed, toilet, and household electricity. I think those were the ones. You have to have like 3 or 5 out of those or something in some states. So you can really, throw an air mattress in it, put a refrigerator in it with an inverter,
Microwave.
yeah, a microwave, a little cooktop or whatever, and no walls whatsoever. And then you can get the title changed and then go from there and do your build out. Uh, some things, like if you're gonna like export something like to another country, like you want to buy a bus in the U.S. and take it back to Canada, you got to pay really close attention to what the laws are on that. So there's certain years they have to be, and then they're exempt if they're considered like an antique or something from the export stuff. Otherwise, they have to have all of their, like if they ever had any recall work done, they have to have exact records of all that stuff, and it gets very complicated with that. But for the general part, to convert something to an RV of a bus is pretty dang easy in most states. And then you don't need any special licensing or anything like that to drive them. But there's a few states that you may have to do that. And then a couple of states you have some extra safety stuff you have to pass.
Did Lenny get better mileage with the new exhaust?
Haven't really noticed it. We're still right around 10. So
When was the last year for non-electric engines?
I don't know. I have no idea. Somebody here will know. I don't know when they started the DDEC stuff for Detroit.
Have you ever picked the wrong fuel pump and put gasoline in?
No. Knock on wood, I guess. I suppose somebody could do that.
Have you ever heard of a magnetic brake?
Sure. Yeah. Even like a retarder or something like that they use that. They had some at BusCon too, but I've never actually worked on one or seen them, but they seem great.
Did Lenny have 4 6-volt batteries when he came new?
No, he would have had two 12 volts.
How does Lenny handle in the snow?
He tries not to.
What is the largest size injectors you would recommend for a 671?
That depends on if it's turbo or not turbo. Obviously, those marine ones that we worked on were like 115 that were in them. They can handle that kind of. You can get 475, close to 500 horsepower on a 671. It's going to take big injectors to do that, and a lot of cooling and all that. So, but typically, I think rolling coal is kind of crazy. So, like my bus doesn't do that really. And I've got 70s and an engine that really should only have 65s in it. But if I went up to like 75s, then you would see a lot more of that. But if you're up at a turbo 75, maybe even at 80, but I wouldn't recommend any higher than that.
Can you send me an invitation code to your website?
Yeah, you just got to follow the directions on the website to do that. And I typically every 2 or 3 days I'll go through and try to do all those. I search specifically and through my emails for the title that you're specifically told to put in that. So if you get creative with the title of the email that you're sending me and don't name it exactly the way it's supposed to, you will not get an invitation code because I won't see it. It's very specific. It tells you exactly what to type.
Was MCI the only company to make the air beam suspension?
No, GMs have it. 4104s, a whole bunch of bus companies have that.
On a stock Silver Sides, can you explain how the defrost works?
There's a big heater core behind the driver in the center aisle, basically. So it's behind maybe 2 feet behind him, and there's 2 big squirrel cage fans in there, and then the heat would come through that up the side pedestals, and there was these big columns that would go along both the driver side and the passenger side, right behind the door on the driver or passenger side, and then just to the left of the driver, it would come up out of that pedestal, and then there was a tube that would bring it forward, and then it would go into the above the windshield there, and then it would come down from the windshield. So a lot of times people get rid of those big because they stuck out like 12 inches from the wall, these big columns, and people didn't want those there, so they would just hack them out. But that's what carried the air up to the front.
Any plans to come to Southern New York? Would love to help.
Yeah, we've been there several times. I have a sister that lives in New York, and we've been there several times working on buses. We were there just last year. We didn't make it this year to New York, did we? We got really close, but we didn't actually make it to New York.
Yeah, I don't think we have anybody on our schedule as of right now in New York. What happened with the Eagle you saved, I think, from Georgia that had the backwards 10-speed with the fuel problems?
It now has an automatic in it, and it's getting converted to a motorhome. I haven't seen Sean post any videos lately of that, though. I should probably find out how he's doing with it. But we'll be down there visiting them again after Christmas time, so maybe January-ish. And I'm sure you'll get an update of that.
Is there something you need for your work?
Something I need for my work. Yeah, I need to get some larger ratcheting wrenches, as people pointed out yesterday when I was trying to use that liner puller, because my ratcheting wrench sets only go up to 3/4. I have two different ratcheting wrench sets. They both stop at 3/4 size, and that's a 7/8. And a lot of times I need a 15/16 too, so I'm gonna have to get some of those. But I mean, I have a huge list of tools that I want to get, and I want to add another toolbox to the bus. So I got to change some things around, which is why I was getting rid of some of those other tools. And I've been real happy with the Harbor Freight, the Icon stuff that I've got. So I'll probably kind of look into their Icon line a little bit, see about maybe replacing a few things and upgrading a few things to some of that stuff. I just saw another super chat come through. Whoops. Michigan Don. If you're ever in Raleigh, North Carolina area, I like to put you folks up for the night. Got 50 amp hookup, water hose here. I'll even get a few Beyond Burgers and toss them on the grill for you. We like the Beyond Burgers. weren't we just in Raleigh area this summer?
Yes.
That's
we
where the
were.
Mickey D's bus was, I think, right?
Yeah, we're not too far from there.
Not too far. I have a brother that lives in Raleigh as well. Or did he move? No, he moved.
He moved south.
He moved south.
He's
Sorry.
still
He's
over
still
there.
in North Carolina, but he's in a different town now. But thank you for that offer.
Is there anyone that you know of that does bus inspection for newbies wanting to buy a bus?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of places that would. Anybody that can do a commercial DOT inspection is going to be able to look for the obvious general safety things. If you got a place that you can take it to that's got a pit or something like that, that's nice too. But a lot of places you're buying a bus that hasn't been running and it hasn't been driving and that kind of stuff. So really, you're just looking for the basic stuff. Is it going to fall apart if we do fix everything? And then what price are you paying? Because if you're looking at buying a bus that's $5,000, why are you wasting your time trying to get an inspection done on it? You pretty much don't know what you're getting into for $5,000.
I need to replace my air governor on my 8V92T. Is Luke a good source?
Yes. Yeah, Luke is a great source for everything. Because all you got to do is say what you just exactly said right there, and he'll send it to you, and you'll have it. You don't have to look up a parts number. You don't have to. You just call Luke and say, hey, this is what I need. Here's my address, my credit card number. Boom, you've got the part. And then if there's something else on that particular model of bus that needs to be done at the same time, Luke will also inform you of that. Hey, when you're changing that, you should do this too, or maybe you should have one as a spare or something. Luke's great. I can't recommend him enough for anything. I think I just saw another super chat go by. I'm not sure what that means from Todd Locke E. 10. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, Todd.
Missing the front Greyhound emblem on the silver sides. Are they available?
Well, I just saw 2 of them yesterday. Taylor was taking one to go see about getting it repopped. And if he does that, then I'll obviously post about that. So keep an eye out. Mark Renner had 10 of them reproduced as well, but I don't think that turned out the way that he wanted it to, or the whole situation wasn't quite right. So yeah, keep an eye out, and I think there's gonna be some repop ones hopefully coming up available, because they're translucent. Their light comes through them. They got the running dog on them as well, and yeah, they're pretty rare.
What model Garmin did you get?
I don't remember. It was pretty much the nicest RV one that they had, other than they had one more model that was nicer that also had a built-in dash cam. But I didn't want the dash cam because I'm going to have that other system, and I already have a dash cam that I like anyways. So I didn't want to pay another $200, or well, it would have been $100 with the discount. But I didn't do the one with the dash cam. But other than that, it's got updated free maps, and you type in your height and weight and all that stuff, and it knows. where to send you. And
Are the blowers on a 671 a dry blower, or did the wet bath air cleaners help lubricate?
say that again.
Are the blowers on a 671 a dry blower, or did the wet bath air cleaners help lubricate?
The blower lobes themselves are completely dry. You shouldn't have any lubrication on them whatsoever, if that's what you're asking. There's obviously a lot of oil flow going through the gears on them, but there's no, they're dry. If that's what you're asking. I just had another super chat from James, but he didn't actually type something. So thank you, James. But if I see you pop up something there, I'll recognize it for you.
Do you know of any good online MCI used parts websites?
Not necessarily. I mean, like Luke or somebody like that, I would reach out to. He might know some as well. MCI does carry a lot of that stuff still. They have a pretty good historical parts department, which you'll pay for it. It post on some of the bus forums looking for there's some guys, you know, they have a bunch that are parting out and stuff like that. That's what I'd kind of do.
What's the interior height of your bus?
It's like close to 6 foot maybe. And I added an extra inch of insulation on my floor. So, I mean, I'm 5'10" and I got a couple inches of clearance up there. So even with my hair. I didn't see. Did James post something else?
I don't know. I'm about 10 minutes behind on.
Okay.
Any plans of one day visiting Alaska?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a long drive and that's really hard on the bus. I mean, there's like grades that are like 14%. I don't know that I would really enjoy that very much. I watched some of my friends do it and everything. And I did just see another super chat come through from maybe me. Enjoy watching. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy watching.
Anything wrong with keeping your bus private?
No. But like a still seated coach, but a private coach. So maybe that's what they're asking. I don't know.
Have you ever done work on buses in Canada?
No, I don't even know the legalities of that. Yeah, I'd probably have a special visa and all that stuff. So I've just never done it. My Canadian friends that want me to work on their buses, they bring them down here to the States and I work on them. I got a couple more super chats here. James Hayden did another one. A guy in Melbourne does replica Greyhound stoplights for the rear of the bus. Yeah, that would be cool. Eventually I want to add one to my bus like that too. And then from IK04, have you been told your videos are therapy? No. I could see them being therapeutic though, I guess.
When you head to Jersey to visit Luke, I'm in for a tune-up. Maybe next year? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean, have you sent me an email to get on the list? That kind of thing. That would be the best way to approach that. I'll get tired.
Once it's registered, you can drive anywhere you want? Question mark.
Yeah. Once it's registered as an RV, if that's what they're asking, yeah, you can do whatever you want, pretty much. I mean, any vehicle is registered, even if it's as a bus, yeah, you can drive it. We're not as an RV, we're not required for like way stations or any of that kind of stuff. J Matt just did another super chat. Scott and Kelly and Tyler. 20, keep the old bus.
What normally keeps the cylinder from falling down the bore is just a pure press fit?
No, there's a big ring around the top. So there's a lip that goes all the way around the top that sits into the block. That's what holds that liner in. And that's why when that one broke on the bottom, it fell all the way down.
How does a turbo affect heat?
Well, anything that adds horsepower makes more heat. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna have more heat and you see cooling issues. So the radiator will need to be upgraded and all that kind of stuff. I have another super chat here from DG Scott. What genre of music do you enjoy? Um, this is actually fun. I will discuss this. I have a lot of Pandora stations that I'll listen to while we're driving. Like one of my very favorite ones is a CW McCall station that we have. So it's like all like vintage like trucker music like from the 60s and 70s. That's really fun. Kelly, it probably annoys her a little bit much, and she'll just put her earbuds in and listen to her books or whatever. But then we have like an 80s station, like hair band kind of thing that we listen to. And then what else do we listen to? Sometimes we'll throw on some comedy radio too.
You throw it on.
Yeah, she doesn't. That annoys her like crazy too.
We listen to a little bit of everything.
Everything. I have a Johnny Cash channel on Pandora that I like, and a Neil Diamond channel that I really like too because it plays a lot of cool stuff, and a John Denver channel.
I don't know if I asked you, how does a turbo affect the heat? Did I ask you that?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Where did you learn to work on buses?
Watch the How Did I Become the Bus Grease Monkey video. That if you click our home page for the YouTube channel, you'll see that and answer that question for you.
Have you ever seen a D-Deck Detroit converted to manual?
No, but I know that it gets done. It can be done. Especially the early ones are really easy to do, allegedly, but I've never done it. And yeah.
Okay, we're almost at your hour here. How are you handling the cold?
I haven't cried yet. Putting that other engine back together that we tore apart outside yesterday. It was nice out yesterday. Got a little cold when the sun went down. That is not going to be fun putting back together out there. But I'll survive. I brought warm clothes, so it's not going to be that bad. It's only going to be in like the 40s most of the week during the day. So as long as it's not raining and everything, I'll be good.
The yellow bus you showed with the Ford gas motor for sale.
No, none of the stuff here in his collection, I believe, is for sale. So I don't think so. Well, I mean, maybe everything is for sale, I guess, but not really.
Okay, let's see what else we have here. Who is Luke and what's his website?
Luke doesn't. I don't think Luke really has a website, but Luke at US Coach. Man, I just saw two super chats come through. US Coach at att.net is his email. And his phone number, I'll post it in the thing. But yeah, if you just search for Luke, US Coach New Jersey, that'll usually pull it right up for you. Yeah, he's been in the business for 50 years, and I just saw Mark Woodward did a super chat. Thanks for an education money cannot buy. I think Tyler's going to be working on some of Mark's buses coming up here soon. And then Ice Hunter, just wondering how strange the slanted window on the old look bus looked like. My question is, if you could, would you rather put a auto or another engine in Lenny? No, I don't want an automatic transmission in them. I love the manual transmission. And engine wise, I've seen there's another Silversides out there that's got a Series 50 with an automatic in it, but that's just not I mean, how it's more fun to pull up somewhere and tell somebody what motor you got in that bus, and you tell them it's a 2-stroke, and they're like, oh, that's awesome. I would be ashamed to tell somebody that, oh, it's a 4-stroke. I wouldn't want to do that.
What is the latest news on Lance's bus?
We'll be back down there in a few weeks to get it going. They got the mounts are done for the transmission and that kind of stuff, and he's still working on a couple other little things on it, but we'll get it done when we get back down there next time. So 2.5 to 3 weeks, something like that. I think we'll be there.
What's a ballpark price for a used 4104?
It all depends on condition, obviously. So non-runner, been sitting there for a while, I've seen them go for $1,000, 1,000 to 5,000, usually that kind of condition. Running, driving, 10. If you're looking for like something that somebody's been driving around in lately and it's been on the road, then you're 15 to 20 grand. Very rarely do I see them go over 20,000. They'd have to be really, really nice, I think, to go over 20.
Okay, Okay, it is after 9, so I don't know if you want to stop here or.
Yeah, we'll give it like 5 more minutes if that's okay. I hate to just cut it off.
Okay, do you want CV, availability to MIG, and lots of gen power, or just stick?
Um, I can't carry giant welders. I'm not a professional welder either, so that would just be ridiculous for me to do. So I'm fine with just a little stick welder that I've got for little tiny jobs if I need something. Otherwise, the client will just bring somebody out. Is that Tyler that asked that question?
No.
Oh, he just said that's me, so I didn't know. Oh, somebody was asking Tyler that question, I think.
Okay.
I just saw another Ice Hunter. What's your dream bus to work on? Just anything vintage, and especially ones that aren't on the road. I just love to get ones that have been sitting and get them back on the road driving. That is my very favorite thing to do. I mean, if you just want me to come do a tune-up, that's fine. That's fun. But if you've got a bus that you just bought that's been sitting for 25 years in a field and I get that thing going, that is the most fun thing ever. Like Sage's bus, when we get that thing driving out of there in a couple weeks, that'll be awesome.
What's your number one pick for bus RV conversion?
There's no one favorite thing. Just anything that's vintage. I just love the old stuff. So the older the better, I think.
How do you go about getting new windshields that are out of production?
Yeah, good luck with that. We just got to get people to get together and get the molds made for some of these rarer buses that aren't available, like 4104, 4106. That stuff's still available. 4103 is not available. I know Steve's been looking for one for a long time for his bus. I think they had to go with some plexi stuff for now. But if we could get 8 or 10 people that are owners of those buses together to share the cost to get the molds done, that would be great for people to be able to do that. There's a place called Curved Bus Glass, but they don't carry all the buses. But most buses things are available for, but some of that rare stuff you're just gonna have to replace it with Lexan or something like that for now.
I have always got the feeling you don't particularly care for scenic cruisers, that you're not impressed by them. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, you're wrong. I love them. They're bigger and more expensive to operate, and I find my bus plenty expensive to operate. So I don't need to add more wheels and everything. Everything's just more complicated. The interior of them with the raised side aisles and stuff like that, it's difficult.
How often do you need to rebuild the blower after a bus has been sitting for a long time?
Almost never. They're almost ready to go.
Is it hard to keep your bus warm in very cold weather?
Yes, because I didn't design it to be in super, super cold weather. I would add heated floors if I would have realized. That's probably my biggest regret about my conversion, is that I didn't put heated flooring in. I should have done that for the whole bus. I don't care if it was electric or hot water or whatever. I should have done that because it'd be so much more comfortable in here with that. But we have spray foam insulation everywhere, extra insulation on the flooring. The water bays are insulated. It's a drafty thing. Most of these windows are just single pane glass, so even though we put the bubble wrap stuff over them, and it's cold. When the furnace is on, it's comfortable, but you can't leave it off for very long.
Are the headlight trim rings on a Silver Sides available or common to other models?
Everything is available. If yours are missing, I would get a hold of Gene Russell and see what he's got. A lot of that trim stuff, not necessarily, but it's real similar on a lot of other models where if you put it on there, I don't think people would ever notice that it's not the same. I just saw another super chat. Ryan Berry, 72 Eagle, AV71, had old fuel, only 400 M2 tank. I don't know what you're saying, Ryan. But I mean, we run old fuel all the time, and it's never been an issue. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you were saying.
What do you think of the diesel heaters for heat?
They're amazing, but they're also amazingly expensive, and they require maintenance and that kind of stuff. So, but I would actually like to have one, because that would that could do my preheating in my engine. That would be the same fuel source for heat for inside the bus. Hot water heat and everything can come off of those. So they're absolutely great, like a ProHeat or a Webasto. But they're expensive. You're talking a new system like a ProHeat. I think you're looking like $12,000 to $14,000. when I can just run my generator and plug in a heater or have the propane furnace for $400. That's a big difference.
You have inspired me to look into getting a bus. Is there any short bus you would recommend?
There was a Shorty 4106 that I saw that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, I like the rare stuff. So anything you find that's more rare, I'm not a huge fan of the schoolie stuff, especially the gasser stuff. But there's some short fish bowls out there that are pretty cool. Something like that I would probably do. I saw another super chat come through. It's from James Hayden again, having problems with super chat. Sorry about that, man. I was trying to tell you that there's a guy in Melbourne that does replica Greyhound stoplights, like all the buses like yours. Yeah, someday I'm gonna get some of that stuff. Yeah, I see Sage just asked you who, if you know that, post that guy's information in there. That'd be great, or just to have as a record for that. But last I knew, a new drum headset for the rear with the stoplight and everything was like $1,000, and I didn't want to spend that kind of money just to have that. I got other money I need to put into things on the bus. Ice Hunter, another super chat. What are you gaining by converting Lenny to a turbo? Just more horsepower and the ability to perform at altitude, which I do not have now. We lose 3 to 4% of performance every 1,000 feet above sea level. So when we're up at 10,000 feet peaks, doing passes, the bus is a total dog. And I just want to be able to get more air into the engine. That's really what I want it for, is altitude performance. I'm quite happy with the horsepower that we have right now. We're probably about 250 ish right now with the setup that we have, and we'll get another significant upgrade with the turbo.
Do you have satellite radio or depend on internet?
We just depend on the internet for that. I don't even have regular tune in radio stuff.
I have playlists on my phone though too.
Oh yeah, she's got her Amazon, or not Amazon, her iTunes music library on her phone.
Kelly, do you help or do you just do camera work? I do help, just not on camera.
She helps a lot. Yeah, she'll torque ahead. She'll do a lot. She gets dirty. She does. Plus the camera work, and then taking care of everything in the bus and computer work and stuff like that too.
Do you collect vintage things? And if so, what's your favorite thing to collect?
I mean, I collect old cameras, but really just bus stuff, Greyhound stuff. I don't have room for any of that stuff anymore, especially if I'm gonna get rid of the house and just be living on the road mostly. We don't have room for that kind of stuff.
Wife asks, what one thing is a must in the bus for wife's comfort on the road?
Okay, you have to answer it for your comfort.
I don't know what to tell you there, but I'm loving my new comfy couch.
She does love the new couch. The new couch is awesome.
I used to sit back in the bed all the time because I didn't like our couch.
Yeah, the old couch was like a futon, so it wasn't really a couch. It was a bed that was pretending to be a couch. This is actually a real couch. And it's very comfortable, and the whole living room arrangement that we have up front now is much more. We've been up here a lot more than we ever have been in the past. It's like a whole new usable area of the front of the bus. But I did lose an extra sleeping position where we had the futon we could fold down and have 2 people sleep on that if they needed to. We had guests and stuff, but we'll still get by that now. I just saw another super chat come through from Ryan Berry. Was trying to ask what I can do to get better mileage. I only get 400 miles out of a 110-gallon tank with an 8V71. Oh, okay. What does that work out to? I'm not in my head. So 400 gallons, 100 gallons, you're getting 400 miles. So that's 4. Less than 4, right?
4.
What bus did he say what bus that's in? So how much does your bus weigh, and do you have an automatic transmission? Because, but yeah, that's really bad. So what's your gearing on it? What RPM are you running? That's all stuff.
Is that around town though, or is that?
Yeah, if you're around town, it's gonna be terrible, but that's still really bad. Yeah, I would do a tune-up on it. I would check for a fuel leak. That sounds really, really bad. Thank you. 3.63 miles per gallon. I knew it was less than 4. That's close enough. I just had to check my math in my head. Uh, Public school education paying off here. Yeah, you should be getting better than that. But if you're driving a 40,000 pound bus 80 miles an hour, no, that's probably accurate. But if you're going 60 miles an hour on the highway and your bus only weighs 30,000 pounds or less, you should be getting more than that. But again, it depends on what RPM you're turning, what your rear end gear ratio is, what size tires you have on it, all that kind of stuff. And is it smoking while you're driving it?
Is a 1983 MCI that had been sitting for 10 plus years a money pit?
No, not necessarily. I mean, well, any bus is a money pit possibility. But what does it take to get it back on the road? It's mostly just rubber and seals and stuff like that too. Oh yeah, check the air filter on that too. Good one, Tyler.
What is the best thing you took away from Burning Man?
Oh, I don't know if there's was there anything, was there a best thing you took away from Burning Man? I don't.
No.
It was
had fun.
it was fun. It was really cool to see. The art was really neat. It was fun talking to people from all different walks of life and just seeing creativity on everything. So from the way people dressed to the cars that they built to the camps that they made and the art that was there. It was just it wasn't. Some people like it's like a pagan thing. Not at all. It was just there's some weird stuff that goes on there too.
Doesn't mean you have to be a part of it, though.
Yeah, when an old naked man stops in front of you and bends over, don't look. That would be the one thing that I think I took away from Burning Man. I was riding a bike and he just right in front of me stopped and bent over. It was like watching a Will Ferrell movie. I can't get it out of my head. It was very disturbing. We should probably end this. We said we were going to do an hour and we've been on like an hour and 15 minutes. We didn't really have any questions about the buses here. That I thought people would really ask more questions about the projects that we had going on here. So we'll post more. Phil will be on here tomorrow. Yeah, I think he's enjoying that he gets to be on the camera. But we'll get these buses going, and he's got some history stuff he wants to share, and there's a few other buses here that we'll show this week. Stan's got a great collection, and then I'll see if I can find out if Stan's, because I know that they are a 501(c), whatever that means, that charity type status. So if somebody wants to make some donations to them to help out with some of their projects that they've got here, I'm sure they'd really appreciate that. So I don't know if they really have an avenue set up for that yet, but I'll see if I can find that information out and try to share it with you for that. I did just see another super chat come through real quick from Ryan Berry. The 72 Silver Eagle been sitting 7 years. 4-speed Spicer. Yes, smoking a lot every time I press on the pedal on the highway. Driving it drove. Yeah, you might have like a stuck injector or something like that, Ryan. I would kind of investigate, see which cylinders may be doing that. So if you kind of short out an injector while it's running and see if the smoke changes a lot from one or the other. But yeah, maybe the air filters, like Tyler mentioned, you should be getting a lot better fuel economy than that for sure. Okay, are we done?
Yep.
Okay, guys. Hey, thank you everyone for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll have a fun week here, and we got a lot of work to go for the next 2 weeks actually. And I got several people coming by, and I'll post the number that you can text me if you're wanting to come by and volunteer and help. We can get you cleaning some parts or doing something like that too. Anything's going to help us. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it.